Hello, hello, good morning. So, I just had a really quiet morning, which it feels funny to like break the silence because it's just so quiet here. I just did a 10-minute yoga flow and more flexibility and a meditation. Today I want to talk about just like the art of not giving up, you know. And I think it was Mark Manson who wrote the book. You can Google it or Amazon it. But it's a book that just took off because it was really popular, and it talked about this theory of just living your life like just like you don't care, like detach. And that's pretty much what I want to talk about on today's episode. And honestly, I kind of learned this art of detachment and the art of not caring um pretty stupidly. I have a history of being a people pleaser. I have a history of caretaking family. I have a history of being controlling. I have a history of, just wanting people to like me. Um, you name it, codependent. I've done it, and I say that it stems from my childhood and just, the divorced family, the chaos, the trying to bridge gaps between my family so that we can all kind of have fake peace, and trying to make everyone feel comfortable because maybe when there was less chaos, I would feel more comfortable. Um, or wanting to save people, save my sister who was, sometimes the black sheep and had a lot of issues. Oh, you're struggling, come live with me, um, which didn't end great on an occasion when she couldn't pay rent, and I still let her stay longer. So again, every nuance of the things you shouldn't do in relationships I have done. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s, more recently a few years back, when I needed to get trained by a coach with a program to learn how to just let people be who they are. And I had to learn how to detach and be less codependent. And I feel like a lot of that comes to from you have a need that needs to be fulfilled by the other person. And that need that needed to be filled by the other person was their attention, was the other person liking you, was the other person's, maybe the physicality of the relationship. If it was you were dating them and you were a couple, maybe you were attached to an outcome for the sex, or maybe you were attached to an outcome because you wanted them to like you long term and you couldn't take another breakup. I don't know. But there was multiple reasons why I tried hard and forced relationships that maybe naturally shouldn't have been, or forced connections that naturally maybe shouldn't have been, or mingled with friends who we didn't really have much in common, but because I was trying to be nice and be in their life and just show up for them like they were showing up for me, forcing relationships. So what I want to say for today in 2025 going into 2026 is that it's not that I'm going to teach you to not care, but I want to teach you to, again, choose yourself first. Be true to yourself first. A brief example of this is I was at the mall the other day, and I was there with family, and they were just shopping and shopping, and we went into a jewelry store to buy a necklace for my sister. And I remember at a certain point I was just looking around, and I'm like, I am literally wasting my time here. Like, we had already went to one jewelry store, and by this next store I was just like, I did want to come to the mall. I did want to walk around. I did want to do this and this, but don't want to be in these stores, even if it's my sister's, even if I haven't seen them in forever, even if, I'm like, they could do this alone. I'm going to go do me, and then we'll meet up after. But I literally said, like, I'm not interested in the stuff in this store. I'm going to just go. My girlfriend says, I'm gonna go the fuck off, I'm gonna go over there. So that's what I did, And I was like, no, they kept, my two of my sisters, they're both younger, kept showing me their jewelry, showing me their stuff. And I'm just like, oh. At a certain point, I was like, yeah, I'm not into this stuff. So I'll catch you guys outside and, meet up with me when you're done. And like literally, it's that simple to choose yourself, because at a certain point, like showing up and putting yourself in spaces that are not necessarily for you are uncomfortable. And we get to choose our comfort today and choose our discomfort. And there's a lot of things in life that are supposed to challenge you, and areas where discomfort is a skill that you learn how to sit in for something that you're sacrificing for in a good way. But sometimes when it comes to certain relationships, I would say feeling too much discomfort and getting out of your element for just something as small as shopping, or something as small as you're gonna go eat at a restaurant of cuisine you don't even like, and and then you're gonna pay money to go do something that you don't like when maybe you're struggling with bills. Like, what that does not make sense. You're like adding fuel to the fire. And on top of that, you have a very tight schedule. So you're going to go make time to see your friend, to do the thing that you kind of don't even want to do, that you're going to pay to do. It doesn't make sense. So these are things I had to learn over time, is to just choose yourself. And I think a fear that I used to have when it came to choosing my preferences, and living life on like my terms, was that I was afraid that if I said what I wanted and the other person didn't want the same thing, that they would not want to hang out with me, or they would not want to be with me, or they wouldn't want to, make plans with me, or they wouldn't want to just have me around, or we wouldn't click. And what I say to rebut, to as a rebuttal for that, is that if someone doesn't fit in your life as you are, or when you start growing and evolving, I'm gonna tell you that maybe that's a good thing, and maybe that's okay. Like, we are meant to grow, and you can keep friends over the years and check in and stuff, but don't force yourself like old shoes to fit in a place where you don't fit anymore. Okay? And this is part of just awareness, part of, have you ever been in conversations and you don't really want to be in them, and then you can tell the other person can tell that you just want to go, and like you're just done? Like, I feel like that happens a lot professionally too. Sometimes in the past, I've had that experience where I'll be talking to certain clients, and after a while, when certain people talk too much, or they say the same thing 5 different ways, and I got the point the first and the second time, and I don't need further clarification, I feel like at those points, I kind of see where I'm just like, please stop talking, please stop talking. So today, what I do now is just say like, hey, okay, I got you. I understand. I'm gonna go do this and take care of it. It's literally that simple. And then I just kind of cut it off. If instead of saying the same thing 5 times, my who I'm working with, I'll just let them say it 2 times, and I'll just keep go on my way. What I will say is, choosing yourself is like, if you don't choose yourself and you don't make yourself feel safe, your sense of confidence is not going to be there as much. And your sense of just energy, your strength, your character, your identity is going to be not as strong, because you are conforming and giving your energy and acting in ways that are not necessarily your own and not true to yourself. If you're somebody, like, let's say in high school, and you don't shoplift, and then you're around girls that shoplift, which is actually my experience. I had a friend that shoplifted, and she was talking about it, bragging, and I was like, girl, I can't relate, like, or smoking weed in school. At that time, I was like, girl, I can't relate, and thank God for that I didn't do it with her. But having that ability to be separate, somebody else who has a smaller sense of self might try to fit in and do something to kind of qualify themselves to the person and make the relationship better and connect with them. Because I feel like that's something too that happened in certain societies, is that, you know, someone finds out about this and then the dirty laundry, and then everyone finds out about each other's dirty laundry, and then everyone's on an even playing field. And, you know, we don't have to do that, you know, in our relationships. Like, because somebody else trauma dumps on you doesn't mean you have to trauma dump back on them, or basically co-sign every single thing. I feel like when we enable other people to socially be like that, I feel like that is a defect of ours. I've had friends that will trauma dump on me, and they'll start doing it, and then I'll redirect the conversation now that I know who they are and the things that they talk about. Because my energy and who I am, I don't have the same narrative in life as others. And even though I may have had trauma in the past, I never lead with that. I don't always go back to that in my relationships. And because I'm healed, those topics don't come up as much. The need to talk about trauma versus overcoming trauma. Yeah, certain vibes with people that I had to break apart from when I was drinking and partying a lot was the people that were negative, the partying, the drama. They keep choosing really crappy partners and then staying unhappy and then having to self-medicate because they are unhappy. And I've had a few of those friends too. And I've even been that person, you know, years and years back. But what I will say is that all in all, is just, you are not sworn to be one version of yourself for the rest of your life, okay? You are a human and you are here on earth to grow and implement new knowledge every year, every season, whatever. It is your place to choose who your friends are. It is your place to choose how you move and how you lead with, and who you want to spend time with and who you don't. As a gay person, as a queer person, I feel like being rejected, and I think that as anybody, being rejected is one of the most painful things that humans can experience, because we're communal by nature. We're meant to integrate with our families, have a community. Like, we're social creatures by nature. And getting rejected by anyone or being made fun of by anyone, I think is an experience that can sit with one person for the rest of their life. And for people who have ever been in that place, or gay people who feel like they're already in a position to get rejected, it is really challenging for us and gay people to really not try to please people, really not try to fit in, not try to, you know, to be as detached in social situations. I think that queer people are some of the nicest people I've ever experienced, and I don't always think that it's always a healthy thing, but it's always, I will say that we do our best. So what I just want to get back to and reiterate for this video is to just not give a F, you know? Like, when it comes to building your life, focus on serving yourself, your highest self, your health, your mind, body, spirit, and everything will fall into place. If you don't take care of you and respect yourself, if you don't put some of your priorities first, if your house is a mess, like, there's something, I think it's in the Bible, or it's a quote, it just says, the things will come to your life if your house is in order. And your house is your temple, which is you, mind, body, spirit. So if your house is not in order and you don't prioritize yourself, you cannot cultivate healthy relationships, okay? That's just how it is. And there are times and places to be compromising and flexible in relationships, and there's times to which happen, but never at the expense of your mental health, never at the expense of your health. You always have the ability to choose you and to detach from people. Like, you don't have to be the end all be all. You don't have to save people. You don't have to heal people. You don't have to be the best employee in the company to save the company because, it's falling apart and you're very skilled. Like, these complexes exist in you for a reason. Instead of focusing on the other things, focus on what you can control, which is yourself. Okay? So when it comes to relationships and socializing and just your, how you move, care less about, the people pleasing. Always do service where you can, but care less about like that outcome of what you're gonna get from putting out there, and just focus on you. Focus on you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay? And again, we do this to be the best version of ourselves, to fill up our own cups, to then help others. But not at the expense of ourselves. Like, that's not healthy. So, that's what I got. The art of not giving a F. Keep it up. Keep it up.